4 years in a bounce, I've sat down and made this exact video with the exact same consequences, the exact same reasoning, just overall the exact same feel. Celtic out of the Champions League qualifiers yet again, this time earlier than usual. I would be lying in saying that I was ever going to be expecting to sit down on this seat this season and say we were going to make the Champions League group stage. I think as we dwindled out of last season, we all admitted defeat in the sense that getting to the Champions League this year was basically not going to happen. Reality was just not going to allow that. But it still hurts when you sit down and you look at it and you look at that performance in the park today and think, over the course of 2 legs, I should say, and think, well, we could have went through, but it's our own fault, and it's the club have just left us in a situation where we can't challenge. No, that Michelin were there for the taking. They were literally there. We should have had the game to bed over the course of both ties. We should have won at Parkhead. We should have won there tonight, but we didn't, because the board have led us into the position of going into this tie once more, as we do every year, without being prepared, without looking like a proper professional football team. I just overall, it's just not ready. Ange Postecoglou, God bless him, he tried there, and the team tried as well, but you can't expect much when the team is not ready. That is the reality of it. That's the message. There's not much else to put out there. I'm so angry at the board. I'm so angry, it's unbelievable, that the fact that they've allowed us to be in this position once again. They've not learned from the first time, they've not learned from the second time, not learned from the third time, and it's the fourth time now, and we're still going into that game which with a back four that wouldn't look out of place on lock-end pitches on a Sunday morning. That's what I see there. That is a back line of brickies and plumbers and YouTubers like myself, people who should not be starting a back four for a Champions League qualifying campaign. No disrespect to the young guys like Welsh and Dane Murray and Ralston, who are going to maybe go on to do something in their careers, maybe some more than others. But there's no way Celtic Football Club should be in a position where those are the guys starting going into the Champions League qualifiers, a competition which, can I just remind the board, and can I remind the fans as well in case you forgot, is worth £40 million. You'd think that would give the board a bit up the arse to try and get us prepared and ready, but the only people to blame for this are the likes of Dermot Desmond, Ian Bankier, Peter Law, and of course now Don Mackay. Don Mackay has came in and he's talked about modernising a football club, modernising to the point we have Dermot Desmond handling our transfers. So that's what that gets you. That sort of result there. Being knocked out of the Champions League by a team we should be beating. When the draw was done, I'll admit I wasn't optimistic. I didn't think that Celtic would make it through. But that was ultimately because of the position we're in. But the reality of it is we should have a back four and a goalkeeper who allows us to challenge and beat teams like that. Were we in that position? Were we buggery? I was really hoping that I could start this season a lot more positively, and I could start this season being a lot more optimistic and just putting everything from last year behind me. I wanted to go into this with a fresh mind and a fresh sort of outlook on where we would go as a football club, but ultimately I'm sitting here on this chair and I'm giving the exact same match review and match reaction as I would have for any other game last season, whether it have been the Premiership, the Championship, or the Champions League, whatever. You know, that is the sort of reaction I had to give to every game last season. I was hoping it would change, but here we are, and what's the date? 28th of July. The 28th of July. The season starts on Saturday, and we have left ourselves in the worst prepared position we ever could be, and there's nothing Ange Postecoglou can do about that. Apparently, it's just got to be Dermot Desmond handling our transfers, and we have to sit and watch. We are sitting there with a bare bones squad that is no way, shape or form ready to challenge for a league title. It can't beat Michelin. What hope have we got? I am fearful for Saturday now, and quite honest, to be quite honest with you, I don't have my hopes set that high. My expectations are right now at an all-time low. And I feel sorry for saying that, because some of the players, they work so hard, and the manager, he probably just wants to be off to the best possible start, and he wants to have all the fans behind him, and I think the fans, including myself, will say we're behind him. We are behind him. But the board just continuously want to let us down, and we have to face this mediocrity of exiting the Champions League at embarrassing points year in, year out. So we may as well talk about the game itself now that I've had my rant about the situation we're in off my chest. once again, in the first half, Celtic looked great at times. I don't think that we were much different from the opposition. I think both of us gave it a fair going. I don't think one team was much better than the other, but there was glimpses of us moving forward that looked really good, and I was happy with what I was seeing. Once again, it was those defensive kind of the nerves of a defence that was getting to me, and just all the signs pointing towards why we need defenders brought into the club. That's just the fact of what we see every week now. We know that. It's just the norm. We don't have a defence. I don't go into the game expecting us to have a good defensive performance, but once again, the first half, defending set pieces, irrational tackles, Stephen Welsh was guilty of that, ended up getting booked. All these different wee things, they just add up to show that, it's not an experienced enough backline. It's not a backline that's ultimately good enough, and it's going to leave us in this same situation week in, week out. To be fair to Tony Ralston, I'll take my hat off to him today. I thought he was actually not bad over the course of the 120 minutes. But once again, we shouldn't be in a position where he's playing. Dane Murray gave a really good account of himself at points of the game too. Once again, shouldn't be playing these sort of games. Stephen Welsh shouldn't be playing these sort of games. They're not ready for it. They're not players who are quality enough for it. So there was still those glimpses of defensive worry, but moving up the park, I thought we looked really good. McGregor was brilliant today. Thought Christie still had bits and bobs, looked good. Abada looked good again. The one big problem, and as we'll move into the second half here, Odsonne Edouard was absolutely invisible. I have always been someone who has been a massive critique of the Edouard is lazy argument. I hate it. Everybody knows I hate it. But tonight, he was non-existent. He was a ghost. And I don't know how he managed to last so long in the game. I would have had him off much earlier. And I would have had him off, within minutes of the second half, I think. He just offered nothing for us tonight. I don't know how he managed to stay on. Second half, once again, we looked really, really good. And we got that goal. Callum McGregor's goal, oh my God, it's goal of the season right there, and it gave me that little bit of life, it gave me that little bit of hope. And McGregor, we spoke time and time again, we spoke about it in the live preview, we spoke about him on the podcast so much. I think he's in for a massive season, and that's one of the real shining lights and positive of not only today's game, but so far pre-season. But it's not enough when you have the rest of the team, or the rest of the team behind you letting you down. And then you get Scott Bain, who can't catch the simplest of crosses. Barkas gets absolute dog's abuse. Bain deserves the exact same, I think. The ball goes across the face of goal and he goes out to get it and it slips right through his hands. And if you can't install the confidence in your team through those sort of mistakes, you do that and they can't install the confidence by being able to make those, then it just rubs off and it doesn't work out. We go up, Forrest misses an absolute sitter of a chance which you have to bury. And then they get their goal. And this is where the problem starts to set in. Look, between the first kick of the ball at the very first minute of the game and up until we conceded, there was real positives at times for Celtic, I thought. There was players who were much better than others. I thought there was players who were invisible too, but there was real positive at times. It wasn't anything spectacular, don't get me wrong, but it gave me a little bit of hope. But as soon as that goal goes in, that equaliser goes in, we don't put a single ounce of pressure on the opponents. Not a single ounce. And that goes from the minute they score, to the end of regulation time, to the end of the first half of extra time, to the final kick of the ball. We didn't put a single ounce of pressure on Midtjylland. It was straight sailing for them. It was like we accepted the fact that maybe at first we wanted extra time, then we accepted the fact we wanted penalties, and then we accepted defeat. That was the vibe that I got from the moment they scored their first goal. That we just couldn't match them. There was no intensity. There was no pressure. There was nothing there from Celtic. They offered nothing. And I think that started to resemble in every player, and that was where the real downfall of the game came on the park, to say, for me. From what I seen, that's what I would say. We really just offered nothing. And you think when you go 2-1 down in extra time, that's it, right? Okay, give us a lift. Go out and do something. Even with Midtjylland probably setting up in a way that tries to strangle every sort of bit of life for Celtic, you think they might give us something here because they need to. They need to go up and score. It's now or never, but they don't. They gave us absolutely nothing. And we lose the game. Simple as that. On the course of the whole 120 minutes, as I said, there was spells where I thought we looked promising, and with the right investment and the right players put in, I think we can really get going with Ange's system, but overall it was pretty bang average over the course of 120 minutes. because we just didn't offer enough. And it looked as though we threw in the towel at points. But the main problem is this board have left us in the worst possible position. We need quality out from the back to build off of, and we don't have it. I think that's one of the main issues of why we were so strangled for anything in that game, because we didn't have anything to build out from. You get John Hartson at half-time complaining about building out for the back and all the rest of it. The whole point in Ange's system is to build out from the back, but we can't do it with players who are incapable, who are not ready to do that. I mean, John Hartson's comments at half-time were like he's never played the game. I don't get him. He was no IQ at all at the half-time, but we just didn't have it. We need to build out from the back, and not even in a tactical sense, just in a confidence sense. You need that confidence, you need that quality at the back for the rest of the team to go up and perform well, and then to have that trust going back as well. But we don't have any of that, and that's a big problem for Celtic. The board need to realise, and they must spend money over the next 48 hours. We need players, and I know they won't even be ready for Hearts. That's the worst part of it. They won't be able to play against Hearts. So it doesn't really matter if we get them over the next 48 hours or not, but the intentions have to be there. Us fans need that comfort of knowing that the board are going to make changes, because it is fucking shambolic that they've let us into that position tonight. Out in the second qualifying round to a team we should be beating. It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Right, that'll do. Usually it would be the 3 things we've learned, but as you know, when things don't go as well, there's no point in talking about things we've learned, because what are we learning? We're learning that we're just in the same position with a different man in charge. At least this man is looking like he wants to change and move forward and develop us, and I want to back him with every single fibre of my being. But the board are just strangling every possibility of us moving forward as a football club, and that needs to change. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. I'll see you all next time.